All right, ready to dive into Venice.
Let's do it.
I'm so excited for this one.
Me too. Venice is just magical.
It really is, and it's so unique. I mean, a city built on islands.
Yeah, connected by canals instead of roads.
I can't even wrap my head around that. It's like something out of a dream.
It is pretty dreamy, and that unique setup, it shaped Venice's entire history.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we're talking about a city that was once a powerful maritime republic.
Right. Its reach extended all the way to Southeast Asia and North Africa.
Wow. Think Marco Polo.
Exactly.
So basically, a city with a history as amazing as its canals.
Absolutely. And today, we're going to give you a whirlwind tour of the must-see spots in Venice.
Awesome. I'm ready.
We'll dig into what makes them so fascinating and what you should really look out for when you're there.
So it's like our insider's guide to Venice.
You got it.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk about how to even understand this city built on water. No cars, just boats.
Right. Imagine hopping on a boat instead of a bus to get to work. It's everyday life in Venice. And this water-centric lifestyle, well, it's the reason behind Venice's incredible architecture.
Oh, I bet.
You see this mix of styles from ornate palaces to charming bridges connecting the islands.
It really is a visual feast.
It is.
So it's like a giant, beautiful maze, but on water.
Exactly. And to help you navigate, think of Venice as being divided into three main districts: San Marco, Castello, and Dorsoduro,
Okay.
all separated by the Grand Canal, which is like the main street of Venice, but a watery one.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. So where do we start our Venetian adventure?
Let's head straight to the heart of Venice,
Yeah.
St. Mark's Square.
Okay.
If you can only see one thing in Venice, this is it.
Right.
Picture a bustling square right in front of St. Mark's Basilica and the Doge's Palace.
Oh, wow.
Two iconic landmarks you absolutely have to see.
St. Mark's Square, it sounds like the Times Square of Venice,
You could say that.
a place where everyone goes to see and be seen.
For centuries, this square has been the epicenter of Venetian life. It's where the government held meetings, festivals took place, and people from all walks of life came together.
That's incredible.
And here's a fun fact: a tiny canal called the Rio Battario actually separates St. Mark's Square from the Doge's Palace.
Oh, really?
It's a small detail, but it adds to the charm.
It does. Okay, so it's not just one big open space.
Yeah.
That's cool. And speaking of breathtaking sights, you mentioned St. Mark's Basilica.
Yeah. Get ready to be amazed.
Okay.
This basilica is a visual masterpiece. With its glittering gold mosaics, intricate Renaissance paintings, and those iconic Byzantine domes.
Wow, it sounds incredible.
It's like stepping into a jewel box.
I can only imagine. But I have to ask, why all the gold and grandeur? What's the story behind this basilica's opulent design?
Well, remember how Venice was a major trading hub connecting Europe with the East?
Oh, right, yeah.
That cultural exchange is reflected in every detail of the basilica.
Wow.
It's this fusion of Eastern and Western influences.
That's so cool.
A testament to Venice's global connections. It's considered one of Italy's most beautiful churches.
Okay, I am adding that to the must-see list for sure. Now, tell me more about this Doge's Palace. Is it as grand as it sounds?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine a palace fit for a king,
Right.
except this was the residence of the Doge, the elected leader of Venice.
Got it.
And the palace itself is a stunning example of Venetian Gothic architecture, showcasing the city's wealth and power.
I bet.
And trust me, there were plenty of secret meetings and political drama happening within those walls.
Ooh, intrigue and secrets. I'm picturing a real-life Game of Thrones, but set in Venice.
Maybe not quite that dramatic, but you get the idea.
Yeah, yeah.
The Doge's Palace is a treasure trove of Venetian history and art, and its location right on the banks of the Grand Canal.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a power move.
Okay, I'm sold. The Doge's Palace is officially on my itinerary. Now, you mentioned another place that piqued my interest. The Bridge of Sighs. What makes this bridge so special?
Well, picture this. You're a prisoner back in the day, being led from the Doge's Palace to the prison across the canal.
Oh, no.
This covered bridge, with its unique Baroque style, is your last glimpse of freedom.
Wow.
That heavy sigh you just let out. That's how the bridge got its name. The Bridge of Sighs.
Wow, that's a story that gives me chills.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the emotions of those crossing that bridge, knowing it was their farewell to the outside world.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that even amidst all the beauty of Venice, there were stories of loss and confinement.
Absolutely.
And speaking of beauty, are you ready for the quintessential Venetian experience?
Bring it on. What are we talking about?
We're diving into the Grand Canal. Imagine yourself gliding along this watery avenue in a gondola, surrounded by those colorful palaces we talked about, the bustling life of the city, and the gentle rocking of the boat. It's like taking a time machine back to a bygone era.
Okay, I'm officially dreaming of gondola rides now. But tell me more about the Grand Canal itself. What should I be looking out for?
The Grand Canal is the heart of Venice. It winds its way through the city,
Okay.
passing under beautiful bridges and alongside those incredible palaces. As you cruise along, keep an eye out for architectural gems like the Cador and the Carazonico.
Okay.
And pay attention to the different architectural styles you'll see, each telling a story of Venice's evolution through time.
So it's like a floating architectural museum. What's the best time to experience the Grand Canal?
Sunset. Press me on this.
Oh, okay.
The way the light paints the buildings, creating a warm glow over the water, it's simply magical.
Okay, sunset gondola ride it is. Noted. Now, what about the Rialto Bridge? I've heard it's a must-see.
It absolutely is. The Rialto Bridge is more than just a way to get across the Grand Canal.
Yeah.
It's a vibrant hub of activity. Picture this. You're standing on this iconic bridge built back in 1588, and you're surrounded by the energy of Venice. People are going about their day. Gondolas are gliding underneath.
I can just imagine.
The atmosphere is electric.
Okay, I can already imagine the people watching opportunities. What else makes the Rialto Bridge so special?
Well, it's a marvel of engineering, for one. It's a testament to the ingenuity of Venetian architects who managed to build such a grand structure right on the water.
Right on the water, wow.
And the views from the bridge, don't even get me started.
Okay.
You get this incredible perspective of the Grand Canal and the city's bustling life.
All right, the Rialto Bridge is definitely going on the list. Now, you mentioned some hidden gems earlier. Can you tell me about one that our listeners should seek out?
You bet. For our last stop in this part of our Venetian journey, let's venture off the beaten path to the Basilica of St. Mary of Health. It's a bit of a hidden treasure that often gets overlooked by the crowds.
A hidden treasure. Oh, I like that.
But it's well worth the visit.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What makes this basilica a hidden gem?
Firstly, its location. It's tucked away between the Grand Canal and the Giudecca Canal, almost like it's hiding in plain sight. But the real star is its design. This basilica has this unique octagonal shape that sets it apart from all the others. And then there's the story behind it. The basilica was built after a devastating plague swept through Venice.
Oh, wow.
It was a votive offering to the Virgin Mary, a symbol of hope for the city.
I love how every corner of Venice has a story to tell.
Yeah.
So what can we expect to see inside this architectural marvel?
Picture this. You step inside, and you're greeted by this awe-inspiring space. There are 8 radiating chapels and 3 altars, all adorned with beautiful paintings of the Virgin Mary. It's truly serene and beautiful place, a perfect escape from the bustling city.
This sounds like the perfect place to end our first leg of the journey. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the bustling St. Mark's Square to the serene Basilica of St. Mary of Health.
Yeah, we have. We've only just scratched the surface. But don't worry, we'll continue our Venetian adventure in just a moment. Venice is a city that begs to be explored.
It really does feel like we've only just dipped our toes into the Venetian waters. We've seen those grand landmarks, those iconic spots everyone talks about, St. Mark's Square, the Basilica, the Doge's Palace. We even took a virtual gondola ride down the Grand Canal.
And let's not forget that hidden gem, the Basilica of St. Mary of Health.
Absolutely. It's incredible how each spot has its own unique story to tell.
Yeah.
But for our listener who's getting ready for their first trip to Venice, I think it's important to emphasize that this city isn't just about checking off a list of must-sees. It's about the experience, about getting lost in those charming little canals and discovering those hidden corners that make Venice so special.
You hit the nail on the head. Venice is different from other cities where you might plan a strict itinerary. It's a city that invites you to wander and explore at your own pace. Don't be afraid to venture off the main tourist trails and into those quieter neighborhoods. That's where you'll find the true heart of Venice.
Okay, so we've got the must-see landmarks covered, but you mentioned hidden gems earlier. What are some of those off-the-beaten-path treasures that our listeners should seek out?
Ooh, I love this part. Venice is full of surprises just waiting to be discovered. One of my favorite hidden gems is the Libreria Acqua Alta. It's a bookstore, but not like any you've ever seen before.
A bookstore. Okay, you've got my attention. What makes this one so special?
Picture this, stacks of books piled high in bathtubs, gondolas, and even a full-size fireboat. It's this wonderfully whimsical and chaotic space that perfectly captures the spirit of Venice. And the reason for all the unusual book storage, the shop's prone to flooding, so they use these unconventional vessels to keep the books dry.
That is amazing. It sounds like a book lover's paradise and a photographer's dream. What else should we add to our list of hidden gems?
If you're looking for a tranquil escape from the crowds, hop on a vaporetto and head to the island of San Giorgio Maggiore.
Hold on, a vaporetto. What's that?
Oh, it's just the Venetian way to get around. Think of it as a water bus that hops between the islands. It's part of the public transportation system in
Got
Venice.
it. So we take the vaporetto to this island. What awaits us there?
Well, first of all, the most stunning views of the city. The island is just a short ride from St. Mark's Square, but it feels like a world away. The highlight is the Church of San Giorgio Maggiore, designed by the renowned architect Palladio. You can climb to the top of the bell tower for panoramic views that will take your breath away.
Okay, breathtaking views, check. What else?
There's also a peaceful monastery and lovely gardens, perfect for a relaxing stroll. It's like a little oasis of serenity, just a stone's throw from the bustling city center.
That sounds like the perfect place to recharge after a day of exploring all those canals and bridges. Okay, any other hidden gems you want to share?
Let's venture to the Jewish ghetto. It's one of the oldest Jewish ghettos in Europe, dating back to the 16th century. In fact, the word ghetto actually originates from this area of Venice.
Wow, I had no idea. So what can visitors expect to see in the Jewish ghetto today?
You'll find 5 synagogues, a museum, and several kosher restaurants. It's a fascinating glimpse into the Jewish community's rich history and culture in Venice. And architecturally, it's quite interesting. The ghetto is known for its tall, narrow buildings, a result of the limited space available within its walls.
So it's like stepping back in time and experiencing a different side of Venice.
Yeah.
A side that's often overlooked.
Exactly. Now, no trip to Venice would be complete without indulging in some authentic Venetian cuisine. And for that, we need to talk about cicchetti.
Cicchetti. That sounds intriguing. What is it exactly?
Imagine Venetian tapas. These are small snacks or side dishes, perfect for sampling a variety of flavors. Typically served in bar called Baccari.
Oh, I love tapas.
Uh-huh.
So what kind of cicchetti can you find in Venice?
You'll find a huge variety, from seafood like fried calamari and marinated anchovies, to meatballs, cheeses, and crostini topped with all sorts of delicious ingredients.
My mouth is already watering.
You
Do you have any recommendations for must-try cicchetti?
Absolutely. You can't go wrong with sardi and sore, which is sweet and sour sardines marinated with onions and raisins. It's a classic Venetian dish.
Sardines and raisins. That's a combination I wouldn't have thought of, but I'm willing to try anything once. What else?
Another favorite is bacalao mantecato, which is creamed cod spread on toasted bread. It's creamy, flavorful, and utterly delicious.
Okay, both of those are going on my must-try list. Now, where can our listener find the best cicchetti in Venice?
Baccaris are scattered all throughout the city, but some of the best ones are tucked away in those quieter neighborhoods we talked about. Ask locals for their recommendations, or just wander around and see what you stumble upon. That's part of the fun of exploring Venice.
I love that. Speaking of fun, we have to talk about gondolas. We've already mentioned the magic of a gondola ride, but what else should our listener know about these iconic boats?
Gondolas are more than just a tourist attraction. They're woven into the fabric of Venetian life. They've been used for transportation for centuries. And even today, some Venetians use them to get around the city.
Wow, I can't imagine using a gondola to commute to work. That'd be quite the experience.
It's definitely unique. Now, if you're planning a gondola ride, here are a few tips. First, negotiate the price beforehand to avoid any surprises. Second, consider going for a ride in the early morning or evening when the canals are less crowded.
Good advice. I can imagine it gets pretty hectic out there on the water during peak hours. And what about serenades? Are those a real thing?
Ah, yes. The quintessential Venetian serenade. Some gondoliers will sing as they row, adding to the romantic atmosphere. However, not all gondoliers are singers, so if a serenade is important to you, be sure to request it when you book your ride.
So it's not guaranteed, but it's definitely worth asking about. We've covered the landmarks, the hidden gems, the food, and even the gondolas. Is there anything else our listeners should know before they embark on their Venetian adventure?
Yes, a few practical tips. First, Venice can get very crowded, especially during peak season. Be prepared for large crowds and long lines at popular attractions.
That makes sense. It's a popular destination for a reason.
Exactly. Second, Venice is a walking city, so pack your most comfortable shoes. You'll be doing a lot of walking, and the streets and bridges can be uneven.
Good point. No one wants to be hobbling around Venice with blisters. What else?
And finally, be mindful of the acqua alta, which is the high tide that can flood parts of the city. It usually happens in the fall and winter months. Check the tide forecast before your trip and pack accordingly.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. No one wants to get caught in a flood. Is there anything else you want to leave our listener with?
Venice is a city that constantly shifts between reality and illusion. It's breathtakingly beautiful, but it's also fragile, facing challenges like rising sea levels and over-tourism.
It's important to appreciate its beauty and history while also being mindful of its vulnerability.
Exactly. Venice deserves our respect and admiration. We'll wrap up our deep dive into Venice in just a moment, but first,
We're back. And man, my mental suitcase is already overflowing with all the amazing things we've learned about Venice. From those grand landmarks like St. Mark's Square and the Doge's Palace to hidden gems like that book-filled Libreria Acqua Alta, it feels like we've been on a whirlwind adventure.
and we've only just skimmed the surface. Venice is the kind of city that reveals itself in layers, much like the peeling paint on those ancient
I
buildings.
like that.
There's always something new to discover, something that will surprise and enchant you.
I love that analogy. It's so true. But for this final part of our deep dive, I'd love to take a step back and talk about Venice's legacy. What is it about this city that continues to captivate people's imaginations? And how does it endure in the face of challenges like rising sea levels and over-tourism?
That's a great question. I think Venice's enduring appeal lies in its ability to transport us to another time and place. It's a city that exists in this delicate balance between water and stone, history and modernity, reality and illusion.
It's almost like stepping into a living, breathing work of art. And yet, as you mentioned, it's facing some very real threats. How do you think Venice can preserve its unique character for future generations?
That's a complex issue with no easy answers. Striking a balance between preserving Venice's heritage and managing the influx of tourists is key. Sustainable tourism practices, responsible development, and engaging the local community.
Right.
They're all vital pieces of the puzzle.
It's a good reminder that Venice isn't just a tourist destination. It's a living city with a rich history and a vibrant culture.
Exactly. And it's up to all of us, visitors and residents alike, to ensure that Venice continues to thrive for generations to come.
So as our listener gets ready to embark on their first trip to Venice, what final piece of advice would you offer?
I would encourage them to approach Venice with a sense of wonder and curiosity. Get lost in that maze of canals. Savor the unique atmosphere. And embrace those unexpected encounters. Venice is a city that rewards those who are open to its magic.
Beautifully said. And I think that's the perfect note to end on. Venice is a city that truly captures the imagination, a place where history, art, and culture come together to create an experience unlike any other.
I couldn't agree more.
So, to our listener, as you prepare for your Venetian adventure, remember to pack your curiosity, your sense of wonder, and of course, your comfortable shoes. We hope this deep dive has given you a taste of Venice's magic and inspired you to explore all its wonders.
And if you find yourself pondering how Venice's unique geography has shaped its people and its culture, well, then we've done our job.
Happy travels, and until next time, keep exploring.